I have to check this because I don't believe it. This will be the first time multi-stream done worked again. I don't believe it. No. Be patient with me if you actually are on this live. Be patient. Let's see. Because I don't believe none of this. Oh, shoot. They say we live. That's crazy. No. Michelle, we live for real. You got me on here going through all these sites to see if it's actually working. Listen, I'm telling you, we have not had multi-stream work since, for the last couple of times. So this time it actually worked. So I'm like, yeah, I gotta check. So we actually live on Facebook, which is crazy. And for some reason I can't check the YouTube. Oh, here we go. Now I get to check the YouTube. So, okay. Oh, okay. So it says we live on the YouTubes too. All right. We in business. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so I guess we got live. So listen, because it be, man, you know how Streamlabs do. Like I said, for at least the last 3 weeks, we have not been able to go live on multi-stream. Just be like, but I'm glad it figured itself out because your boy gonna start traveling and I ain't got time. Like next Tuesday, I'm gonna be somewhere. So I don't have time to be trying to figure this mess out at all. Glad to have you here. I don't know why it's not I'm gonna have to work on this setup again because I seen you leave a message, but now that I'm looking, okay, hold on. Let me see. Will it show? Nope. All right, well, let me cut some lights off. Dang, that's crazy. Because I want to talk trash to you. I appreciate you telling me we live. I promise you. I know I probably was looking crazy for a minute, but that thing was like. So the last couple of weeks we just been on YouTube, and then there you go. Hey, I see you now. I got some work to do in Chapel Hill. Yeah, I got moves to make. So yeah, February gonna be rather busy for me. So y'all will get several episodes from the hotel room. I don't know. I think I want my okay, so I knew I had the comments up there. So oh shoot. I want to use my Ramley blanket. I gotta get it off my bed because that's why I'm gonna keep my Rams. Glad you could be here though, like I said. You seen my video about something that the kids did that lives rent free in your head. Am I forgetting something? I am. Oh. Yeah, and I talked about that little girl who sang like 187-year-old woman. I was thinking that it gets stuck in your head. She looked like Orphan Annie. And she was like, the sun will come out tomorrow. I love that little girl. She also one day told me one of the best stories ever. Because we were just sitting and doing some work. We're gonna do this. Doop, 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 doop. Okay. I'm gonna make this sissy. Too sissy, too sissy. Okay. Did that work? Alright. Let me get my sissy light together. But anyway, one day came where we were doing some kind of work. And it's orange. Orange don't be looking too orangey though. Good. I ain't like orange. We're gonna roll with it. One day she stops me and she's like, Mr. Anthony, do you want to hear do you want to hear the most scariest story that was funny at the mall? And at this point, I've been working with kids long enough that when they have a title to their story that's that long, it's about to be a great story. So, I bit. I was like, yeah, of course I want to hear the most scariest story that was funny at the mall. Like who would pass up on that? So she says, okay, so me, my mommy, and my daddy were walking in the mall, right? I said, okay. And she said, and then this boy just started running, right? And I was like, okay. And then the police started chasing him, right? I was like, right, okay. And then they tackled him and they sprayed hairspray in his face. Girl, I died. I died. I died. I died. I learned kids speak. Ooh, listen, I cried and I was like, girl, that is the funniest story ever. Because how her little mind imagine that police just be rolling around with hairspray and on their hip, just tackling people like, wow, hairspraying you down, which is crazy. So she just really watched somebody get maced in the mall and had no idea. Right. It was the hairspray for me too. So that's what I'm like, how a little mind made that connection. But that's a great connection because it does spray like hairspray. So I feel you. If I ain't never seen Mace before, I'm going to call it hairspray. And I laughed so hard that the next day her mama come in and she says, hey, so-and-so told me she told you the story and you thought it was funny. I said, girl, that was the greatest story ever. Ever. So that little girl had great stories. And I told her she sang like an old lady and she sounded like a theater person. So when she told me she did plays, I believe it because her voice and diction, like, man, listen, you talk better than I do. I'm in there talking all 3/4 slavery and she's in there. The sun will come out tomorrow. Wipe away the cobwebs and the sorrows till there's none. Hell, that little girl used to have me lit. Class. Half them kids had me lit because you know me, you know I'm crazy. So if you get me with a bunch of kids, shit, we finna turn up. We used to go on the playground. The other classes go inside. They be like, oh God, here come Mr. Anthony class. Cause I was like, go crazy. Soon as they hit the door, they come, listen, my kids used to cartwheel out the door. So you know it was finna be trouble on the playground. Oh my God, you gotta be reminiscent. I'm sorry. So you gotta be all sideways. But we back on the sentence. I missed that class, girl. I had fun. That was my best class. And after I had them, I left the class. I know I did one more year because I wanted this little boy named Nathan. And Nathan is my dog. So I did one more year. I got a gang of stories about Nathan. So I'll tell you one quick story about Nathan. See, I'm still side dealing, but anyway, tell you one quick story about Nathan. He's the one I use his name because it's just a part of his personality and who he is. So when I first met Nathan, he wasn't in my classroom. He was in the classroom beside me, but we had like one of these little half counters. So I could see him and we shared a bathroom in the middle. So I seen him all the time. And this little boy would come to school so happy. But the only thing he knew how to say was I Nathan. So you be like, good morning, Nathan. You be like, good hi, Nathan. He was like, Daddy Nathan, I Nathan, you Nathan, everybody and everything was Nathan. Right. So they thought this little boy was slow, but I watched him. This little boy was not slow. He just had a speech. He had some stuff going on with his speech, right? And he needed structure and routine. This little boy was not slow. I'll never forget one day his teacher was trying to get him to put his diaper on. Cause they kept this boy in the diaper. He 3 years old. Cause they think he ain't potty trained. This little dude is in the bathroom spinning raw butt cheek on the cold floor. I mean, like, it's a drain in the middle of the floor. He just got his little butt cheeks doing 360s. And his teacher's so hot. She's so mad at this mofo because he will not put his little pants, his underwear on. And every time she tried to help him, he got there and be fighting her, right? And I'm looking at him. I was like, hey, just step out the bathroom, man. When he get tired of spinning with his butt on the floor, he gonna put his underwears on. That dude spent about 3 more minutes, got tired, put his drawers on, then he got up, was like, I'm looked at the teacher like I'm ready. Right. So now, dude, next year, dude, in my class, I'm about to do work with this little dude. I done seen this little dude do all types of stuff. And because they think he's slow, they not paying attention to him. He's one of the smartest kids I've ever taught. So he get in my class and he on that I Nathan. And I work with him hard, right? And I remember when I was supposed to be potty training him because he know what he doing at this point. I got him sitting on the toilet. And he mad. He's so mad at me. Now you remember all he used to say was I Nathan, right? So he hot. He's sitting on the toilet. He hot. I mean, he just sitting in there, his little face red, and he's shaking. And he look at me. He said, "Ooh, Mr. Anthony, I'm so mad at you. I'm gonna tell my daddy. He gonna punch you in your face and break your glasses." Yeah. I cried. This nigga, he was so mad at me. He told me he was gonna have his daddy beat me up, gonna break my glasses. And I said, "That's okay, Nathan. Go ahead and tell your daddy." Right. And people always be like, "Oh my God, that was so rude of him to say it." And I was like, you gotta remember, this is a dude that just thought everybody was Nathan. So now when he's frustrated, he can fully communicate his frustration. I was not worried about his daddy punching me in my face and breaking my glass. I don't whoop his daddy. One, but two, his daddy was so proud of the work I did. This is one of the first times I ever really felt appreciated being a teacher because I was new and I was just praying that I told you, I'm a scientist. So I come from biology. I'm just praying I ain't messing kids up, right? And this dude was so happy the work that I did with his child. When Christmas, teacher appreciation come, this man gave me like $250. He's like, thank you so much. And I understood too because Nathan, my little homeboy, then his mama died. while he was whoop whoop. That's what I say. I'm besides it by nature, a teacher by heart. I don't even know. I told you I was I did. Oh my God. Don't get me start talking about gas and rats. I got science, I got hella science. I got a bunch of stories. I need to start doing way more story times because when the monkeys got free and they was running all around the facility, ain't nothing scarier than research monkeys. Escape research monkeys running around the building. If you talk about you scared. That's what to be afraid of. You don't know what they done did to these monkeys or what disease these monkeys got. And they just out there knocking on doors and shit like, girl, I'm sorry. I'm side note. Okay. Now we on the sentence for real. Girl, you know I got class pet stories too, girl. We had this parakeet named Perry Keith. That motherfucker died. This is one of the reasons they stopped having live pets in the classrooms because these pets die all the time. And they ain't always like kids, man. We had a guinea pig. They used to bite the kids all the time. Every time a kid got near, he was like, he was fighting for his life. I ain't never seen a vicious guinea pig. He did not like no goddamn kids. And we had him at the classroom bed. Man, you you going to this shit be so funny, man. Because it wasn't my class. We had Perry Keith, I told you. Man, we go to my other friend class, man, and that goddamn kids be like, they'll come up to you quick, like, hey, don't play with the pet. See, look. They'll stick their little fingers in that mama. Oh my God. Ooh, shit, girl. Oh my God. I gotta get my life together. Man, you ain't seen nothing outside of goddamn outside of goddamn research monkeys running around with vicious guinea pigs, man. Ain't shit funny. That guinea pig hated kids. Hated kids. Oh my God, I wish I could call my friend, have on my show so she could tell that story because it was our classroom. But we had to have a living animal in the class. So now it's just plants and you might see a fish somewhere in the building, but they cut that out, man. Them animals was eating them kids up, man. Them animals was fully on fuck them kids. And I don't know what they thought was gonna happen. Animals gonna be animals, man. What the hell? They not used to 22 children running around. They got there and running around. The hell is they talking about? What was they thinking, man? You know, that was one of them situations where I used to tell my staff, be like, hey, it ain't your baby, man. You just got to roll with the punches, man. They want you to do some crazy shit. It's the law. So they made that a law where we had to do it. You couldn't let them come to your classroom and you don't got no wild guinea pig in there. Oh my God, it was so hilarious. We show up one day, our parakeet just dead as hell in the bottom of the cage, just laying down there, stone and mother with his eyes open. Like, what you see? Kid is like, Perry? now, now we gotta talk about death. Oh my God, Jesus Christ, hold on. Yeah. Woo, shit. Mm. Okay, I'm getting myself together. Give me, give me a minute, man. You cannot make life up, girl. You got my nose over here running. I gotta blow my nose. Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh man. Them kids should get fucked up. Mm. Good God Almighty. Like these is children, goddamn. Like somebody care about these little mofos at home, and they get ate by billy goats and it's great. Man, only time I seen animals work for real with kids, because you know I done did everything, is when I was at the crazy house when they was using them animals for pet therapy. Them crazy kids needed that, and all I could ever think, no, Lord forgive me. So it's gonna be even crazier. Listen, all I could ever think about when I was working with them crazy kids. Let me stop calling them crazy kids, because they're not crazy. They had reactive attachment disorder and a host of other things. But when I was working at that level 3 residential facility and they bring that therapy dog around, I don't know if you ever read Mice and Men. I'm such a nerd most of the time, with glasses on, glasses off. So Mice and Men, but they got the little Down syndrome kid in there who would pet the dog to death. He pet the dog so hard he killed the dog. That's why I used to think when they used to bring them down, they used to bring them damn animals. Oh God. Oh man. So they bring them animals. I was like, one of these kids gonna pet that dog. That old lady gonna be mad as hell. Pretty dog. Pretty dog. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Okay, so now we really gonna get started. I done spent 20 minutes fooling with you. Okay. Woo, shit. Mm. Okay. After I get some more water, we're gonna get started. Yeah, I don't be knowing, man, but like when I drink, do you hear that? Like, 'cause I mean, I know people in the ASMR. I should just made the night a night. I just ramble and talk, you know what I mean? But I do that on Tuesdays. Y'all be listening to me ramble and talk. Well, this is about to turn into a Tuesday show. That Whew. All right. Okay, here we go. Let me stop joking. Excuse me. There is Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and at last there is Sleepy Sunday. On that day, I sleep in and recover from 1 day of heavy eating and 2 days of heavy retail, for which I give thanks. We've had a small but steady increase in book sales for the past 2 years. Asima thinks that people's Asima thinks that people's Kindles broke. Louise's daughter, what? Pilot affirms that, but mentions also the great dekindling, which started when people realized their e-readers were collecting data on their reading habits, like what page they stopped on. Jackie thinks people miss turning real pages. Gruen says it's note taking, marking up the book that people miss. I can agree a little bit with that, because I would want to do it the same, because I highlight all my books. So I agree with that. Penstamon's conviction is that people miss the scent of paper. So clean and dry and pleasant. She even wears perfume called Paperback. I don't wear perfume, but sometimes spritz perfume into the air on Sleepy Sunday. I've only got 2 more Sleepy Sundays left this month. Our daughter will return. Heather will come back on December 19th. Excuse me, and stay through Christmas. She'll spend New Year's Eve back in Santa Fe, because the plaza is a wonder. It's wonderful at night, heated by pinyon bonfires and cozy places to drink hot chocolate and hot buttered rum and eat biscottos. She wants to live down there forever, or until the water runs out, at which time she plans to move up to Lake Superior. You won't be able to afford it, just the way you can't afford Santa Fe now, I said to her when she told us. Why I said that is apparently because I'm a prime bitch. I don't blame Heather for answering my comment with that observation. I don't blame her because I do not understand myself around Heather. I don't know how she manages to press all of my buttons and pluck every string of my guitar. She actually does throw lettuce in my deer meat stew, use all my dishwasher soap, splinter my wooden spoons, curdle my gravy, and she stained my sheets. Not with menstrual blood, which would be understandable, but with French's yellow mustard when high she squirted out in patterns that she thought were meaningful. She is so much like me, which is why I am the way around her, Pollux thinks. But now, back to Sleep Sunday. Pollux was off on an adventure where he would learn a new song, a song he said to keep the world turning. I was glad, because it seemed like the world had stopped. The sky was so gray it matched the cool bark of trees. Steamy fog rose off the lake. The sun was also gray, as was my blood. If there was blood inside of my body, I felt there wasn't. Instead of blood, there was agar, restrictive to all but gray cells. I couldn't even find my heart beating, a ghost. I had awakened as a ghost. It was Sleepy Sunday, so nobody was expecting me anywhere in the entire universe, human or inhuman. It was that day that made no claims upon me. I was free to disintegrate or to read. I chose the hard stack. Why I did that when I wasn't even planning to take effort to stay organized in a recognizable shape, I do not know. Maybe I forgot, which ordinarily would be a good sign. Sometimes I forget myself and win the struggle with oblivion. Anyway, I didn't stop my hand. It went searching out the hardest book in the stack, the sentence. This time because the gray was colonizing my agar heart, and because I felt surprisingly and reassuringly a slight panic for my own preservation, I started reading line by line, which meant I began to form a picture of a person speaking to the person writing. I was surprised to find that she looked very much like the picture of Flora's fictive grandmother. That's funny. The author of that book looked like Flora's fictive grandmother. She was a young woman with a look of guarded misery in her eyes. She was afflicted, inhabited by exactly what I didn't know yet. The woman's who. Hold on, give me a second. Let me get my food. Swam me up. Okay. Oh, shoot. No. Okay. And I closed it by accident. The woman whose story was being written down had the look of a woman enduring a very long sentence. It was a look I had worn upon my own face. Still, I began to cipher the book. I figured out several sentences. Once I'd entered those doors, I determined for all they would try to change me, it would not succeed. Okay. Okay. So I guess it's supposed to be succeed, but it is spelled Sackeseed. But in the 1800s, phonetic spelling makes sense. The term they would try to change me, but it would not succeed. No matter what they did to me, it would still be a life sentence to be a white woman in a wrong skin. Sentenced to be white was my fate. But as it came about, this was far from my worst trial to suffer. That's wild. She was writing very poignantly, which was crazy. Then I made a mistake. I looked ahead. I decided to turn to the page that Katari had marked, the last page that Flora's eye had rested upon before she died. I felt pulled there and quickly flipped forward. The writing on the marked page was even more illegible. I tried to puzzle it out letter by letter. Once I had a word, I muttered it out loud. Tried to make a sentence. tried to make sense, formed the next three letters with my mouth, then tried the next word. I remembered the words briefly going forward, but I don't remember them now. I became so completely absorbed in this task that my heart began to pound. I heard a whistle outside, but it was not the train whistle. It was something different, a low and intimate sound, right by the window. I heard this sort of whistle before. A not good thing had followed it. I startled, then it happened. I felt my body disintegrating into a cascade of cells, my thoughts bleeding into the obliterating gray. I saw my atoms spinning off like black snow into the air of my bedroom. I watched myself on the bed and found that I was looking from a different perspective at walls and out the windows. I had become kaleidoscopic. I was many eyed, all seeing. The cells flew faster from my body and faster until pop, I was gone. There was nothing for a long time. Slowly, much later, I was back in bed. As soon as I could move my fingers, I closed the book. Black Snow. I guess we're in a new, and then we got chapters. So I was trying to burn a book. I'm a bookseller. This is an identity, a way of life. To willfully burn a book, and one of a kind book at that, an original piece of writing, is something I would only consider under desperate conditions. However, I was driven to imagine that this book contained a sentence that changed according to the reader's ability to decipher it and could somehow kill. I didn't want to find out if my terrifying idea had any merit. I just wanted to destroy the book. After my near-death experience, after I dropped the book earlier that day, I had apparently fallen directly into profound slumber that lasted all night. While I was asleep, Pollux returned and climbed into the bed beside me. I'm usually a light sleeper, but didn't stir at all. That night, a violent storm rose and toppled the 102-year-old elm tree in our backyard, missing the house by only a few feet. The next morning, I looked outside. I looked out into an upside-down world full of branches. I had completely read the sentence. What? I'm lost. Because if she, all right, well, she said she completely read the sentence. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Where was that? With the truth, okay, excuse me, there we go. Had I completely read the sentence, would the tree have fallen directly upon us, pierced its great branches through the roof, killing me, pinning Pollux, killing both of us, perhaps with its shafted arms? Was that sentence the continuance of a narrative I had luckily missed? I was not going to find out. No investigation was required, no further questions. This book had sentenced my most irritatingly faithful customer to death. It had tried to kill me too. On the back patio was our hibachi grill, and in my hand, a can of lighter fluid. It is horrifying when you cannot burn something so obvious, obviously flammable. Books, of course, are notorious for burning at Fahrenheit 451. I read that book, so I always remember 451 degrees, the exact temperature that paper burns. So that's ironic. Told you I was a nerd with glasses and without them. Oh, God. I lit coals and I tried to grill the book. I tried to torch it directly, but the creamy dust jacket and good paper were immutable. I was almost too exasperated to be scared. At last, having failed, I sat on the steps and stared at the book, barely even scorched. Perhaps at that moment, I would have fetched Pollux for help, but early that morning he had gone to Lake Nokomis because of his grandmother. It was where he went walking to think about her. I stared at the book and stared some more. The axe? Or hatchet? We had a small one for camping. I pushed the book off the grill and with the sharpened end of the blade proceeded to hack. The book withstood it. Hardly a dent, not a mar, a streak of dirt, a singed paper. I had never in my life encountered an object that went against the laws of nature. So I began to swear up and down, back and forth, every swear word I knew or could invent. Then I got a shovel, dug a hole in the part of the yard behind the vast down tree. I spent the rest of the morning digging as deep as I could, put the book into the hole, and shoveled all the dirt I had taken out back in. Of course, there's always dirt left over when you dig a hole. It is. This is great. That's crazy how it is. Oh my God. I've been a wild kid too. I dig holes too. Because it loosens up. I guess. I spread this dirt around the yard as neatly as I could. And then I collapsed on the couch with some books by Mark Danielowski. Yeah, she likes a lot of interesting names. There was a sort of athleticism to the act of reading his books that might take my mind off what just happened. I turned on my reading lamp. I called Jackie to exchange a day with her, and I planned to thaw a block of frozen oxtail soup. I know that's right. I did leg lifts and crunches between bouts of reading Danielowski's inverted text sideways, forward, and back while exercising. You cannot really tell that I'm strong, though. No matter how many crunches, I still have softly thickened waist of a middle-aged woman. It's infuriating. Maybe it's the beer. Maybe. 102 years, over a century of growth, and my favorite tree was now flung down right next to the house, missing us as if on purpose. Its expansive crown of intricate bare branches filled the windows. I stroked the lichen flecked, grooved bark. It was very unusual for a tree to have toppled without dragging weight of leaves. What? And when the ground, if not frozen, was at least firmer than during summer's downpours. Yes, I definitely blame the book. The base of the tree up untipped on the boulevard was fascinating and upsetting both because the roots had snapped and ripped beneath the ground. The support system seemed sparse, but when he came home, Pollux assured me that the tree had grown a root system that mirrored its crown. The roots ran below the streets, under the sod, into my yard, perhaps surrounded my house. As above, so below, I muttered. We stared at each other. The world below feeds the world above, he said. It's simple. No, that's right. Yeah, don't get me talking about that. Pollux talked about the bricks of the house down the street, pillars of a stone gate, mentioning gas tanks and roots, hidden aquifers, metals, all of that from the earth, right? We've drawn life from below for too long, he said. You're going to start talking about fossil fuels any minute. Sucking out oil and digging up minerals. Here we go. Things will improve when we start living on the top of earth, on wind and light. Are you done? Valid. Valid. I didn't want to get into the weeds with my husband. Instead, the tree. He'd fix mugs of coffees and we climbed up to sit. The light was clear, the air now watery and warm. The morning's frost had melted into startling green grass. We edged into the crown of the tree so gracefully and powerful, so inviting, even cast down on the side. I suddenly felt, though, I was bereft about the tree, overjoyed to be sitting there in the crown of 102-year-old elm, drinking not just coffee, but an Ethiopian coffee Penstemon had given to me, claiming its scent was dirt made of flowers. Oh, God. She was right. Pollux made himself comfortable against a branch and closed his eyes. Asima came over because I had texted her about the tree and its estimated age. She is a tree lover. She leaned on the trunk. I wish you could just leave it here as it is. I glanced at the spot where I buried the book and was pleased to see the ground looked undisturbed and the place was almost impossible to detect. I wondered if the book would look the same if I dug it up. Would the cover have buckled, the finish disintegrated, Would moisture have fused the pages, making the lethal sentence impossible to read? An image of the pale book popped into my mind. I shook it out of my head, leaned against the branch with my hot coffee, and closed my eyes. Your tree is beautiful like this, so friendly, like a giant put his hands on the earth to cradle a mouse. The image of the book was in my thought again, the pages slowly flipping up, turning as if in the wind. Maybe we shouldn't sit here, I said. Yeah, we should, said Pilot. You afraid our neighbors would think we're weird? Don't worry, they already know. It wasn't that. I was uncomfortable about the way the image of the book kept entering my thoughts and worry of my proximity, and wary of my proximity to the burial spot. Oh, forget it, I said. I began talking about the store, which books were selling, which we needed to buy. Asima climbed into the branches and began to touch the cracked limbs, picking up slabs of sloughed off branch bark and scrambling about alarmingly under the precariously poised limbs. Pollux closed his eyes for a snooze. Soon I found that I was talking to myself, and the seaman had disappeared. I jumped up in alarm and saw that she was staring down at the very place I had buried the book. It happened in a flash. By the time I approached, she scooped up a bit of earth and then tapped it back down with her shoe. What are you doing? I asked. Nothing, she said. What made you stand right here where you are and scuff up the ground with your shoe? Asima frowned at me in surprise. I was lost in the thought, she said, or not even thinking. Sorry I messed up your grass. That's not it. What I mean is, what made you stand in that exact place? What's wrong? Is someone buried there? Yes, I said. No, a dog. Whose dog? A stray dog. You buried a stray dog? It died in the yard one night. You never told me that. It wasn't a big deal. Sad though. Then why are you so worried about his grave? Is it like a Cujo dog? Is it a pet cemetery dog? Man, listen, she got a pet cemetery. That's crazy. Kind of, I said. I keep dreaming about it. Poor puppy, said Asima, suddenly upset along with me. As Asima was okay. As Asima was leaving, Pollux woke and I suddenly found myself dragging along as he hugged me and walked me back into the house. He sat me down and told me not to move until he made me a fried egg sandwich with green chilies. He would make it on an oversized toasted English muffin. So I obeyed. I couldn't tell him that my oppressive idea and murky dreams were about a ghost and a book, and now a book. He had known me under circumstances in which these sorts of ideas would have been inspired by my addiction to all sorts of interesting drugs, including the vine of the dead. This would sound like a major relapse. I don't know what the vine of the dead is. You lost your tree, he said, bringing the sandwich on a pottery plate. It's been your shelter and your friend. Yes, that's it. My tree, my lovely soul. Pollux put his hand on my shoulder, squeezed in sympathy, then took his hand away. After I finished the sandwich, he seemed to remember what he'd heard in his sleep and blurted out, Buried a dog? What was that about? Nasima was getting on my nerves. I said, full and happy now. She's overzealous. There's no dog. She was just standing on our so-called lawn, said Pollux. What's wrong with that? Why would you make up a dog? No reason. Let's live in the moment. I never heard of anything so crazy. What's crazy is how good this sandwich is. I said that staring at my empty plate. Split another? It would be my honor. Let me help you by talking to you while you make it. She got him good. Took him straight off that conversation. Blue. In spite of the fact that I buried the book, Flora continued to visit. We were starting to get holiday busy, but there was usually, there was usually a pre-lunch lull. Flora was still punctual, 11 a.m. sharp, and I'd hear the slide of bracelets on the wrist in the fiction corner. Now it seemed she was wearing her long, slippery down coat, for it rasped faintly along the sailboat table. An old Mexican blanket draped over a chair in memoirs often ended up on the floor. Flora had always said she would get that chair reupholstered. She rustled in the bathroom, but rarely managed to dislodge the paper towels. And then always she seemed to slip into the confessional without opening the slow gate. When this space was renovated, the friends of the bookstore put sacred tobacco, sweetgrass, cedar, and sage in the walls. Then they, I've been messing with that sacred tobacco and hape, which is interesting. And it's good for mental clarity. But I ain't think about sprinkling it around. Then they painted the front and back of doors blue to keep out hmm, malignant energies. All over the world, in Greek villages, in American Southwest, among the Tuareg, blueness repels evil. Hey, maybe that's why I like the color blue. Because for me, it's supposed to be my rage and passion, but maybe I keep evil up off me. It's like, wait a minute, where we at? Blue glass bottles on windowsills keep eating devils out, and so on. Thus, the front door, painted spirit blue, and the vibrant blue canopies above the windows. Which blue? There are thousands of blue. I had come to know the bookstore as a place where, in addition to droves of readers, annoyance did occasionally wander in, but no evil, as far as I could tell, had ever made it past the blue door. Flora was a busybody of a spirit, restless and irritable. Still, the blue door should have kept her out. Perhaps she squeezed in through a floor crack, with an exception of one instance I told her to leave and received a zinging sense of her resentment. I told myself again and again that she was harmless enough. Not so, of course, the book. The book lay beneath my thoughts, submerged like an old grief or an anger unresolved. It was down there, like something terrible that was done to you in childhood. Something. Sometimes the thought of the book came again and again, like an annoying tune you can't shut off in your head. I longed for snow to fall, hoping that the cold white shield would help me. For I had an uneasy sense ever since I sat in that there tree, ever since I watched Seamer go straight to his grave, that the book itself was not an inanimate thing. I had buried something alive. One morning, when the store was empty, but for the slide of Flora's skirt along the edge of the sailboat table, I asked out loud if it was the book that had killed her. Flora, I could feel her listening. Did you read the sentence through the end? Was that what happened? I sensed an immediate focus. Earlier, when the book had actually been in the store, I thought I heard Flora's voice. Although the possibility of that might speak as unnerving, my distress about the book was worse. I needed an answer, and I could feel Flora's need to answer. I could feel the attempt right there, the sensation of Flora's will pushing at the thin divide between us, living and dead. What was that? We seemed so close. I could hardly breathe. I threw from my body some assisting force toward Flora. We were locked in the effort to communicate across the charged air above the featured books. Waves of force between us pushed and receded and began again. Then a customer walked in. Dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction is a hunched, sinewy, doggedly athletic black man in his 70s. Wait, that's messed up. We see him running slowly around the lake, and yet when he entered the store in his tracksuit, immaculate. Today he wore a navy blue one with orange stripes plus a black parka over the thin jacket. These were casual clothes, but he wore them well. As always, he presented an air of elegant outrage. Interested how they describe a black man. They got elegant outrage. You know, they always think we just angry anyway. What's new? He stood in the entryway, glaring belligerent. I glared back at him, furious that he'd interrupted my communication with Flora. Beat it. I'm talking to a dead customer. But I didn't say that. I relented. By way of the fact he was impossible to please, dissatisfaction was one of my favorite customers. Also, I didn't want him to tell me again that he only had a decade or so left to read. I thought he only got 10 summers left. So you playing with him. Oh, God. He was always in a hurry and wanted me to drop everything. He is one of the cursed, a Tantalus, whose literary hunger perpetually gnaws, but can never be satiated. He has read everything at least once. As he began reading capaciously at the age of 6, he is now running out of fiction. I love the challenge of selling books to him and tried first, as usual, to interest him in history, politics, and biographies. I knew he would not accept anything but fiction, but this was a chance for him to vent anxiety over what he might read next. He snarled and swatted aside my factual offerings. A seaman walked in and tried to help. All right, she said to him firmly, you should read this. Before I could stop her, she handed him The Narrow Road to the Deep North by Richard Flanagan, an anguishing read about prisoners of war worked to death in order to build a highway through an impassable jungle. He didn't just wave it off. He lifted his hands and fended it off. He probably like, no, I don't want to read that book. That don't sound too much, he said. Well, what about this? She held up. Every man dies alone. What is her choices? It's more World War II history, he said, thrusting it back at her. Yes, said Asima, but it's something we should all know about, right? He peered at Asima, then looked with incredulous contempt. Are you kidding me? Honey, I was there. I feel you. Asima looked at him with a burst of intensity. He nodded back to her and flared his eyes. She returned to flare. There? How? My dad was a GI. My mama was German. They fell in love. I was born, rode her back as she picked through the rubble after the war. Eventually, he married my mom and we moved here. Happy now? Pretty much, said Asima, subdued. It isn't that he wants fiction with happy endings. He hates happy endings. He turned back to me, dismissing Asima with the flick of his fingers. Dissatisfaction wears thick glasses, has a brilliant young brown and gold eyes, long angular face with broad jaw, grim line of a mouth. His hair is thick, gray, cut close to his skull. His hands are singular, long, narrow, with tenuous wrists. He picks through books with avid purpose. His fingers are nimble and hungry. He holds his breath and either lets it out explosively after reading the first page, a signal of disgust, or with no sound at all, turns the page. Generally, if the first page is satisfied, he'll read the entire book. He will not quit even though he may come to hate it. Now I stood beside him, ticking through the past few months of success and failure. Tony Cade, Bambara, and Ishgaro. Yes, all Murakami. Yes, Philip Roth, James Baldwin, Colson Whitehead. Get Out, read these 100 times. Uh, yeah, Gassi. Yes, Rachel Kushner. Yes, W.G. Sabal. But no more mysteries because he complains that he becomes compulsive. A month ago, I gave him Dennis Johnson's Angels, what he liked well enough. He tried Tree of Smoke. Okay. And exasperated Johnson more than never in narrating him with evidence of hard research, although he said he could see where, in fact, the book was pretty good. I had then pressed Train Dreams into his hands. He came back and faced me, teeth gritted. What else you got by this guy? which told me he had been extremely moved. This lasted a week. He has now finished all of Johnson. We are in trouble if I sell him a book he dislikes. My favorite customer will return with an injured air, his voice cheated and tattered. What shall it be? I pull The Beginning of Spring by Penelope Fitzgerald off the shelf. He grumpily buys it. Much later today, just before the store closes, dissatisfaction returns. The Beginning of Spring is a short book after all. He shuts his hand violently on a copy of Fitzgerald's masterpiece, The Blue Flower, and bears it away. So that means he like uh what's the lady name? Penelope Fitzgerald. The mix up. Katari called me at home on my day off. Our landline is unlisted, but that was the number she called. She probably found the number in her mother's telephone list. As I was learning, there was no small talk with Katari, but her immediate, urgent intimacy was a surprise. Something's up, she said. You must have the wrong number. No, this is Katari. Something's up. Hello to you too, I said. Hello, something's up. I was silent. It's Mom. What about her? I'm not sure yet. I'll tell you when you get down here. This is my day off and I'm busy here at home, which you know because you called my unlisted number. Kateri paused, readjusting her attack. Look, I said I'm going to help you out. When a person who works retail is off duty, we don't do nothing for nobody unless that person asks nice. Wow. You could never be a high school teacher. I'm sorry to be so abrupt, said Katari. It's not like me to be upset, but I'm very upset by something. It has to do with Mom. And I know you and she were best friends. What do you mean, best friends? Silence from both of us. The notion filled me with alarm and was simply not true. For me, anyway. Only connected with Flora for books. She said, Katari stopped. Her voice registered distress. The worm of guilt twitched. What if Flora really had thought of me as an intimate? What if she was still trying as an awkward ghost to stay friends? Look, Katara said, books mean everything to my mother. She lived in the books. And you have that same. It's not that bad, I said, but it's pretty bad. We are immersed in Swan's Way when Katara didn't answer. You still there? I asked. Yeah, you sounded like her. I miss her so much. Please, can you come? I didn't want to, but I couldn't say no. Not when she talked about books. Not when she asked that way. There was a note of pleading in her voice that was utterly unlike the person I had first met and the woman who had first called. All right, I'll be there. But where are you? Fifth Precinct headquarters. For God's sakes, no. I had to talk to the police. Now I'm too upset to drive home. You'll see me when you walk in the door. While she was giving me the dress, which I already knew, and where I did not want to go, I looked out the window. My dying tree reached toward the sky from his back down on this earth. Its branches were like beseeching arms. It takes a while for life of leaf greenwood. What? For life to leave greenwood. I felt the helplessness, the lack of agency, the frustration of the tree, severed from its roots, unable to taste the starlight. The building was an raucous brick and glass box. The strip mall type doorway strung with all faith white holiday lights. Kateri came forward to greet me. I was extremely unhappy to be at the precinct house, but she didn't seem to notice. She took my arm. I noticed the desk behind her. Its surface was neat with decorations spared. One framed photo of a dog and a cheap clear glass vase, stained at the base, still bearing a brittle brown rose. I'm superstitious about keeping dead flowers. What is that? I don't need to know. Thanks for coming to get me. Really, I mean it. I need to tell this to someone. And when I tell you, you'll understand why it had to be in person. My heart began to twist. My hands sweat. Okay, Tookie. I thought, at least now you know you're still physically allergic to standing in a police station. Just tell me, I said. Kateri bit her lip. She put both hands on her heart and took a deep breath. Okay, well, first of all, they mixed up her ashes. I got the wrong ashes. Now I was getting dizzy. Then, as if that weren't bad enough, her body turned up yesterday out at the county morgue. How could I know? The wrong body was brought to the crematory. The morgue attendant for the funeral home was having a bad day. She apologized. Sometimes, well, quite often, they have bad days. She'd gone into an overheated apartment to remove a large body that had apparently been there for some time. And then what they call decomp juice, it splashed all over her and her colleague let go, of the feet. A lot of bodies came in that day, and the ashes I've got apparently a portion of that big man. The autopsy never happened. I'm sorry to tell you this. The tenant went into way too much detail the way I'm going now because I'm terribly, terribly, my heart is wrecked. Kateri put her shorn head into her hands. All of what she said was too much. And then that last sentence, it was so oddly Victorian. But then Flora also sometimes used odd anachronistic turns of phrase. Okay, yeah, we wrap up after this. Sports on suit. I've just gotten back from identifying my mother, and I don't know how to say this. Now Kateri gripped her head with both hands and did not finish whatever she was going to tell me. I don't know how I got back here, she said. I'm afraid to drive alone now because I'm shaking. See, it's starting to hit me. Kateri put her hand out, but her hand was steady. Well, anyway, she said, I guess it's all inside. I was nearly overcome by the effort to withhold my own thoughts. My jaw began to ache. Let's go, I managed to say. She got up and followed me out the door. I pulled out smoothly, got onto the street in spite of the interior quaking sensation and high-pitched singing in my head. Breathing slowly, I managed to calm myself enough to feel that I was driving safely. Mindful breathing, I kept telling myself. It didn't work. I took the long way, easy streets. The drive had an aura of unreality. At the door of the Flora stone-trimmed house, I had to physically restrain myself from talking by putting my fist against my teeth. This was obviously not the time to tell Kateria about her mother, but there was now an actual sensation of illness inside of me. And when I tried to close off the thoughts of it, and when I tried to close off the thoughts of it, the pressure became worse. I truly felt that I might go foaming mad if I kept it all in much longer. However, Kateri preempted what I might have said by asking me a question. Have you ever heard of somebody's body looking younger after death? I mean, not just smoothed out, but much younger. I looked at Kateri when she asked that astonishing question and noticed that terse new lines had formed around her mouth, framing her lips like a parenthesis. She got out of the car. As I watched her walk unsteadily up the path, I bit my knuckles so hard I could taste my own blood. All right, well, is that an hour? That's an hour. Woo, woo, woo. We'll pick up next week with what? Somebody try to call me Morgan Freeman. I ain't even hear that. Dennis Johnson's work is good. I didn't even know you was here. You missed us tripping earlier. I gotta make this chat a little bigger because I can't. Okay, there we go. So you suggesting for the next book? Yeah, you should have heard us tripping earlier. Did you hear us when we was tripping? Are you still here? I don't even know. You hear us when we was tripping on them animals in the class. Okay, so why you wasn't laughing when we was tripping on the animals in the class? How you just let me and Michelle just laugh by ourselves, huh? You missing out. God dog. Hey, why y'all let that get oh y'all can't see it. Man, it's crazy. So I'm about to say, man, I really got to I gotta figure this out. Cause I roast people. Some clown that came and tried to call me what you multitasking doing? Make some granny squares. Dude try to call me Morgan Freeman, he a hater. So then what's it? Multitask, not multitask. Multi-stream work today, so and it ain't working forever. But I need to start working now for real, cause like I said, now I'll be somewhere next Tuesday. But anyway, yeah. I don't know. I should have just kept telling stories tonight anyway, because now I read a story and my story's been good. Maybe one night I'll just tell stories. I wouldn't even know what story to tell. I got so many of them. Oh man, see, like the AIDS monkeys running around. I mean, my gas the mouse. That ain't so fun though. Research is fun. It was a fun. Oh, I figured you was making granny squares. What you call it, crocheting? You should you make crochet granny squares. Hey, you need to ask Sherry on Tuesday. I need to share. She been making bows like holiday bows. You need to follow her. Well, I ain't telling you what you need to do, but you should follow her on. Oh yeah, you got a little girl too. I'll be forgetting, but you need to follow her on TikTok or Facebook or something. I don't know. Sherry be tripping, but she been doing a whole bunch of the little girl hair bows and stuff like that. But and I'll be like, too bad I don't know nobody with no little girl, but I do. And I'll be forgetting. So, lo siento. So I need one of y'all to come on the show and tell the story too. I think I could do that's wild though. You make hair bows the night before school. Hey, I literally always tell everybody what they need to do. So I have to make a conscious effort. That's how you know I've been a leader for a long time and blame that teacher crap. There's nobody now. What you talking about? But blame that teacher crap because once I started getting a teacher, you don't ask 3 or 4 year olds now. You just tell them, hey, pull that, go right. My homeboy was like, hey man, I ain't one of them kids in your class, so I gotta get used to being like, would you could you um would you could you please yeah, that's brand new. All right. Well, I think I might eat me a piece of cake. But it's almost done. I gave my mama a bunch of that red velvet cake. I think I'm gonna post a video about it tomorrow. I'm trying to figure out if I should make that 2 videos or just one, not the red velvet, but the red velvet and then that casserole that I made. I might make it two. And I also been thinking about putting up that rage room video because um it might be time for some rage room. And I think people would like that too, because I'm thinking about welcome to the jungle. But I got hella editing to do out of that one. I got to cut people out of that. Like, doop, 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 doop. No, maybe I just put a smiley face over there. I'm going to delete that. Good. All right. Well, I don't know what we're going to talk about Tuesday. Oh, well, maybe Tuesday I'll just tell stories and bullcrap because I'll be at a hotel. So I ain't going to be able to have the same organization. It'll be the first time. So we'll probably just wild out Tuesday. Do the red velvet. Okay. Good idea. So that's what I was thinking because I made this casserole, and this is my issue too. Because I be making them these videos, right? And my problem is I be trying to make them movies. Like we be doing hours, my videos be movies, right? But I gotta realize that I don't really need to make them always movies. I don't make enough short clips. So story time is an effort for short clips. And then when I was trying to put the red velvet and the casserole together, it's gonna be another movie. So I think I can do the red velvet. And I make the best red velvet. So thanks. I'll do that. I'll work on the red velvet tomorrow. We got a team meeting. I gotta keep minutes for. So after that I'll work on red velvet and I'll post it somewhere. And we still keep getting that award. What is it called? Rising Creator. You know what I mean? So I say I might have to need a mediator for Twitch to Twitch them. Well, I don't know. Twitch to be 50-50. I had one hater and one congratulator. What you talking about? Not according to the competition that I made the greatest red velvet cake. No, the competition said, like, listen, this is the best cake I ever had. The end. So, and now I do that half and half. My mama had some of it too. She was like, oh my God, my icing be jumping, especially my white chocolate icing. And my mama like my strawberry icing. And then she loves my cheesecake. She be acting like a crackhead over my cheesecake. Like, oh my God, your cheesecake is so good. Handy. Yeah, I was mad. And I ain't even tell you that competition was, so it wasn't a lot. In that anyway, you know what I mean? So, But hey, told you they know casseroles and they know I ain't use no cream cheese in that icing. They're like, oh, it's buttercream. This is crazy. But the cake's good. So I make good cakes. I can't ice them worth a damn, but they'll taste good. All right. Well, we'll ramble in the hotel Tuesday. And don't bring your hate attitude. Y'all gotta bring some of y'all stories when animals got loose and stuff. Girl, I am a very good baker. At least the taste of it, right? You know what I mean? So like I've been thinking about I should go on, nailed it. But I'd actually do kind of good, except no, I wouldn't. I would win because it tastes good. But mine would look just as bad as those people. So I ain't got time to embarrass my family. But appreciate you for joining me tonight. Glad we trip out a little bit. We'll pick up Tuesday. Tuesday night in Chapel Hill. And Thursday night we'll be back home. So we ain't gotta worry about that. But mobile streaming anyway. So thank you. I gotta work on my Chuck Taylor, not Chuck Taylor. What's his name? We back in 2 and 2. Don't worry about it. See y'all next week. Peace.